Hi there, it's Ron McCracken, making another video. And for those who don't know, okay, it's Monday evening, May 17th. I thought pretty much everyone knew. Found out today, not everyone does. I had surgery on Friday for a hernia that has been bothering me for quite a long time, for a few years, and just gotten worse and worse and worse, and it's pretty large and everything. So I'm recovering for a couple of weeks at the bare minimum, and that means a lot of changes. Number one change is Friday morning I ran an easy mile before surgery, and that made 7,982 days in a row for my running streak. July 10th would have been 22 years on my running streak. But I'm going to follow my surgeon's guidance, and I'm not running for a couple of weeks, at least until I get post-op exam in a couple of weeks, and when she gives me the clearance, then I can start running again. So at 7,982 days, my running streak came to an end. But as my therapist reminds me, that's just part of my story. It's just another part of my story. So in a couple weeks, I'll start a new running streak. It's real. I'm really, this whole time period in my life, this is actually kind of a good starting point. I'm viewing it as very similar to some other big changes in my life. And one of the biggest ones I still remember, when I left high school basketball for good and went over to switched over to track and cross country. And I was a freshman at Mesquite High School in Texas, and I'd had a couple of really frustrating years in basketball in middle school before that, and then our freshman year of high school, not getting to play much at all, despite a lot of good effort and everything. But I, rather than come back to off-season basketball, which was just guaranteeing that, yeah, I'd still be on the team as a sophomore, but it's just going to be more of the same. More of the same, more of the same, more of the same of showing up to practice early every day, giving 100% every day, doing everything that the coaches asked, and still not getting to play. So it's facing that, or what I decided to do, and I still remember it was either very late February or early March, my freshman year. That afternoon, as soon as we were done with our little basketball meeting, I walked down to the junior varsity field house where Coach Pat Mitchell, the head track coach, was, and I told him what I wanted to do. I asked him if I could come out and run for the freshman track team, and he said, yeah, that'd be great. And very next morning, early in first period, the very next morning, they had already sent someone from the office to my class and gave me the papers to sign to, final approval for my schedule change. And sorry, didn't know the Indy 500 was going to be out here. Never a shortage of idiots in Dallas. Well, I made that decision, leaving. I'd built quite a lot of my world, my life around basketball for several years, and I made that decision to leave behind everything I knew with that, and and sorry, that's Steve McQueen over there revving his engine. For some people, for some reason, people think that's impressive to rev an engine. Well, but basically making that decision to leave everything behind that I knew and trying something completely new, diving into it. And that first track season, and really for much of the first year I was in track and then cross country in the fall, I felt very alone. And because I kind of sort of knew some of the guys on the track team, but none of them well. And it's that whole thing of, when you're the new guy, you're just trying to fit in, just trying to make your way, get along with everybody and all that. But as I kept showing up, kept making the effort, forged relationships and got a lot of respect, and then within the year I started seeing a lot of success and really started out as, I won't say mediocre runner because I definitely had talent, but I was getting beat by a lot of people. Once I started improving, my rise was rapid. So within that first year, I rapidly rose to where I was one of the runners to beat. And that was all because I was willing to be bold. As say in the Bohemian Rhapsody movie, fortune favors the bold. And I was bold enough to do that. And now I'm looking at, now I get to kind of restart and reset my running. I'm gonna have a physically healthy body to run with for the first time in years and start building on that. And at the same time, I'm diving into my mental health advocacy. I've done 4 of these Recovery 101 seminars so far that I am getting paid for. Unfortunately, it's part-time gig work, so it's not enough to make a living off of yet, but looking at it the same way I did with track and cross country, that you just get yourself in there and start off. And I am getting just a lot of great feedback, a lot of wonderful comments from people who have been in the mental health field for a long time. They're saying just some really great things about me and letting me know I'm appreciated. So it tells me I'm on the right path with that. It's just I've been doing these NAMI Days of Action. That's National Alliance on Mental Illness, the largest mental health organization in the United States, for those who don't know. I've been doing several of their Days of Action where we talk to different state legislators and or their staffs about mental health related bills that are up before the Texas legislature. And we've had some great success in that. And I've been serving as a storyteller. And really, I kind of look at it more just saying I'm a truth teller, because I just share my story, share my truth about all the things I've dealt with depression, PTSD, and anxiety disorder, and ADD. And our last Days of Action, both in writing and on the Zoom call, one of our leaders introduced me as a highly accomplished mental health advocate. And for a minute I had that imposter syndrome crept in, like, oh, you're talking about me, oh wow. And but now I realize, well, they are talking about me, and I have been doing a lot of work, both personally on myself through therapy and everything, but also advocating for mental health between my podcasts and videos and everything else. So this is it's all still kind of new to me, the advocacy. And again, it's very similar to when I jumped from basketball into track and cross country, leaving other things behind and diving into unknown territory with people I didn't really know. Definitely I didn't know them well at first, and start, show that dedication and effort and talent, and start forging new relationships and making progress. And that's what I'm doing with the mental health advocacy. And so I'm confident that it's all going to work out in the end, hopefully sooner rather than later. But I'm just taking a pause here. Like I said, I'm out by White Rock Lake at Winfrey Point. I'm gonna just walk for maybe a mile or two, and because again, I'm going to follow my surgeon's guideline of giving myself at least 2 weeks of no running, so that I can get back in and ease back into it and get back to running the Boston Marathon again. Hopefully April 2022. We'll see what kind of races I have to have the opportunity to qualify at and everything. But just want to put all that on here, put my thoughts on tape here, even though it's not tape, but just get my thoughts on tape and remind people, remind myself to never give up on your dreams. And now it's a real dream of mine to have a career in public speaking, and that's all going to be about mental health advocacy, sharing my story. And with that turning point of being 2013 Boston Marathon with the bombings, that was the real turning point that led to everything else. And today also makes 2 years and 10 days sober. And sine qua non, that without which there is nothing. None of that would have happened without the Boston Marathon. Anyway, hope everyone's doing well, and remember, we are luminous beings.